My name is Anthony Diani. I'm the detective for the East Longmeadow Police Department, and we kind of wanted to get this together so that we could talk about trending crimes that are happening in the community and ways to protect you guys from this. Most of it's preventable, so we'll try to touch on a few topics, and then we'll get to questions and things like that after. And there's pizza at 6, so that's always fun. Also, we're going to talk about, we're starting a new camera registry, so if anyone has cameras, we have forms. If you want to fill it out, it's just so I can call you guys if we have a crime near your house, and we can get your surveillance and things like that. But no pressure on that. We're just going to talk about trending crimes in the area and ways that we can prevent it, because most of it's preventable today. So we're waiting for the Longmeadow detective. If you heard me earlier, she should be here in a few minutes, but they have similar crimes. So for now, the first thing that I'd like to talk about is there's a gift card scam. So companies will call and they'll say, hey, I'm with the IRS. You owe back taxes. I saw you roll the eyes. Did this happen? So the IRS it's the IRS. You owe money in back taxes. So they'll tell you that you could pay the back taxes using gift cards. They'll lead you to Target or Best Buy, Sephora, wherever, and they'll tell you to buy gift cards and then read them the code. Once you read that code, it's gone. So you're out the money. We can't get the money back. So if anyone ever calls and tells you to get gift cards, just hang up the phone. The IRS will never call you. We can barely get a hold of them ourselves anyway. They'll usually just mail you letters. So if it's IRS, just stay away, call the police, and we'll look into it. But do not ever give out any information, no social security numbers, things like that. So this has been big in the area. We call it, in the police world, the grandparent scheme or the grandchild scheme. What's happening is people are getting calls, usually elderly, and the person on the line tells them that their grandchild was in a car crash. They have personal information about the grandchild, so they'll know their name, things like that. If they had COVID, they know a lot, all the public information. So people will fall victim to it because they believe what they're telling them. They'll say they were in a car crash and that they're an attorney and your grandchild needs bail. So they'll say, hey, we need $20,000 to bail out Julia. The people are getting cash from the bank, and the bank tries to prevent it. But they're still on the phone with the bad guy who's telling them, hey, just tell them it's for construction, things like that. And they get the cash, they put it in a box, and an Uber driver comes and picks that money up to deliver it to the bad guy. So we want to prevent, this is happening weekly, and people are losing a lot of money on it. So if you get a call like that, we do not do bond in Massachusetts, we do bail. So they're telling you that they need bond. Also, if that happens, just call us and we'll tell you that it's fake and that we'll give you any information you need about your grandchild. But that has been happening very frequently, and unfortunately people are out a lot of money on it. So keep that in mind. The next one is, the last one that we did was the Sheriff's Department, Hampden County Sheriff's Office. They're saying, hey, we need, this is Sheriff Coachy. We are looking to get a certain amount of money for a certain individual. What they're doing is they're trying to get into your computer. I know this is kind of weird, so we'll take questions too, but the sheriff will call, they'll say, we need to access your bank account, and they'll overtake your computer remotely. This kind of sounds wild, but bear with me. They build your trust, they take over your computer while you're at your computer, they have you sign into your bank account, and then they wipe your bank accounts. And then you lost access to that and all your money. So if you ever get calls like that, feel free to call us, and we'll try to decipher whether or not it's a scam or not. So we have no young kids in here. One that's been happening for the last few years, we call it sextortion. What's happening is on Facebook and other places, you'll get a friend request from a good-looking gentleman. This is the Longmeadow detective, sorry. Detective DeBray.
Sorry,
so you're not missing much. We just started. Cool. I'm on sextortion.
Oh, lovely. Just in time.
So, we have a mic for you, too.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. So you'll get a friend request from someone, a male or female. And you'll have a friendly conversation. This is a real person on the end of it, but it's not the real person in the picture. So you don't know who, it could be a different country, whatever. So you build a rapport with this person. You actually think that you're dating the person and you're having a good thing. What happens is they'll start asking for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. If you ever hear cryptocurrencies, just run away, because no one's really going to call you about cryptocurrency. So what's happening is during these relationships, they'll ask for nude photographs. Nude photographs are exchanged, and then they say that they're going to send those nude photographs to your friend list on Facebook and wherever else you might have it. So that's where the extortion part comes in. They're extorting you for Bitcoin or other forms of currency. Otherwise, they'll release these nude photographs to your friend group on Facebook. So if that ever happens, call us, please, and we'll help you in that. Usually, in my experience, you just stop paying them, and nothing's going to happen. They just move on to the next person. But we want to avoid that before it starts. So I know that a lot of people are concerned about the stolen cars. We have a large amount of stolen cars in East Longmeadow. Almost, I would say probably 30 or 40 in this past year. Almost every single time, the keys were in the vehicle and the vehicle was unlocked. I'm just saying, we could prevent it by locking the vehicles and not leaving your keys in there. Now, we have problems with the Kias and the Hyundais because these kids found a way to break through and start the car. But that's a different story. We just got to lock our cars. So we can avoid that. Yesterday, actually, or 2 days ago, we had an incident. We call it's a quick jewelry exchange. So it's usually from like someone from a different country. They come here and they'll do a quick exchange of jewelry. So we had our elderly victim. He was wearing a nice gold chain that he's had since he was 18 years old. He had an Italia hat on, and a gentleman came up to him and said, "Hey, you're Italian." He's being nice and patting him on the shoulders, being very friendly. He said he liked his chain, and he somehow grabbed the fake chain out of his pocket, put it up to his neck, and pulled his real chain off while exchanging the fake chain for that. So he took our victim's real chain and put a fake chain on him. So he didn't realize it for a couple hours. And then the day after that, I don't want to throw out names, but at a place near Stop and Shop, what happens is we'll have elderly people eating dinner or lunch, sitting across from each other, and usually two people will come up to the table, even though there's a ton of tables in this place. They'll put their chair close to them, make them feel comfortable. "Sorry, I bumped into you," things like that. And then all of a sudden, they'll put their hand in their purse and they'll steal their credit cards and go right to Apple and buy a bunch of MacBooks and things like that. So if you feel someone touching you or getting close to you at a restaurant, things like that, just get up and walk away, because they're probably trying to grab your credit cards. Credit companies are pretty good at stopping it, but let's avoid that. You have anything? I think we kind of touched. Are you seeing the same stuff in Longmeadow?
Yeah, same stuff. I mean, the stolen cars is as Detective Danny said. Yeah, the stolen cars that he was speaking about. It's a complete crime of opportunity. Locking your cars, keeping the keys. Even if you leave your car unlocked, put the keys inside the house. But please lock the cars. We're not seeing so much of this bumping in scenario that you guys are seeing at that establishment. But to speak on it, I mean, I can see a few purses right now that are unzipped. Zip them. Keep them close by. Don't hang them on the back of the chair. I know when I walked in, I heard him mentioning something about Bitcoin. If anybody asks you anything, even if they know your nickname, this whole grandparent scheme, I don't know if you already talked about that.
You touched on it.
I've seen a lot of individuals, they said, well, they knew my nickname. Okay, well, the nickname could be anywhere. You Google your name, you find a lot of stuff out. If they mention Bitcoin, hang up, call the police. If they say put cash in an envelope or a magazine and mail it to me, do not do that. Gift cards, anything like that, those are all trigger words. Hang up, call the police. I mean, we're seeing the same stuff in Longmeadow, besides that little bump scheme. The whole jewelry thing we had in Longmeadow as well. Just don't let people get into your personal bubble, like touching your chain, you know, just if you feel weird, call the police. That's what we're here for. Yeah, I mean.
Anthony, can you touch briefly on a lot of the scams, they'll use threats of arrest, just
Yeah.
basically instill fear in the person, so that's why we see that they're
Yeah,
following through.
and that's why. So with certain scheme, we're never going to call you and threaten to arrest you. I promise you. So if you're on the phone with these people, you could hear them getting angry because they wasted probably an hour talking to you, going through these guidelines, things like that. Especially with the grandparent scheme, when you go to the bank to withdraw 20 grand, the teller is going to ask questions, but they are specifically trained to know about these. We contact them all the time, and we're always talking to them. They're really just looking out for your best interest. It's your money, but they're really looking out for you. If you feel as if something is wrong, it probably is. Please just call us. They're going to tell you on the phone. Do not call the police. Just take the money out, lie to them, keep lying. Listen to the teller. They're just looking out for you, but please call us. And we'll never say, if you don't do this, we're going to arrest you. That'll never happen. And now you'll have my card, so you could call me anytime, and I will get the proper people there if I'm not at work, or I'll handle it if I'm at work. Did that cover that?
So I will say, as far as this whole fear instilling, I don't know if it's happening in East Longmeadow. It is happening in Longmeadow. There's a recent one where there's some phone calls, but now they're sending emails with photos of the house where you live, your house. So people are like, holy smokes, they know where we live, so they're even more fearful. You can Google yourselves and you can find out where you live. Google Earth, Google Images, you can get a picture of a house. It's just a fear tactic, a scare tactic. Call us. And like when you guys stop responding, they move on to the next target. They're not following through with this. So please call, don't be scared, and give them the money to prevent something from happening. We'll look into it. They're just scare tactics.
I just wanted to underscore what you were saying about gift cards. I got caught 2 years ago. I had an email from a friend of mine who was traveling to her aunt's. Now, I had talked to this person 3 days before, and she was talking about taking a trip, so it all seemed very logical. And then so this went on for 3 days. We emailed back and forth. She wanted to give her aunt gift cards. I didn't realize, so I fell for it. I got the gift cards, and then you phone them the code number on the back and so forth. And I mean, you're out. There's nothing you can do at that point. And when I did actually call my friend's husband on a different line, and she didn't answer for 2 days, and then found out that their computer had been hacked a week or two before, but she didn't tell people, so that's how they got everybody
All the
in
info.
her address book to contact about needing these gift cards for her poor elderly aunt.
Oh, geez, that's a tough one, yeah. And that's why I say you might believe it, everything made sense in that situation. They had a lot of information, unfortunately. If you ever hear gift cards or cryptocurrency, just run. It's not your friend. Just call us. We'll find a way to get a hold of your friend. We'll send cops to their house. We'll figure something out. But, we want to stop this before it happens. So gift cards and cryptocurrency, just call the police. The IRS, your friends, no one's going to ask for gift cards or crypto. So let's avoid that. We did talk a little bit about the text messages. I got 2 of them today saying that my parcel from UPS was on hold. So just don't click on those. Those are fake. I get the Amazon emails. It's not Amazon. But sometimes it gets me because I order a lot from there. So I go to Amazon, I see if I ordered something. But just double check. You could always go to the Amazon website, make sure that your orders are okay. But those emails are fake. That's how they get you. You click on it, and then they can remote take over your computer. And we have a lot in our computers. We have our bank accounts. We have everything in our computers. So we have to be mindful of that and never let anyone take over your computer using remote access. These are keywords that you'll remember, hopefully, if this ever happens.
You good?
Yeah, I think
Does anybody have crypto, use crypto? Does anybody? No? Okay, then disregard.
There was one more that I had. So we've had, it's called a crypto kiosk. We have a couple in town. There's one at the package store in the Stop and Shop Plaza. I think there's one at Pride, and then there's one at a bank. If anyone calls you and tries to have you go deposit money into a crypto machine, we used to be able to, well, kind of seize the machine and then take the money out of it, but we can't, we got in trouble because the company was getting out the money. So the way that crypto works is, once you put the money in the machine, it turns into Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever the crypto is. But your money's gone because it paid for that cryptocurrency. Now that cryptocurrency is set to an anonymous wallet that is nearly impossible to track in most cases. You need to track it in a couple hours and put a hold on it to get it back. But a lot of people haven't been reporting it, or they're kind of confused because it's complex. But if the sheriff's office calls you and asks you to go to a Bitcoin kiosk, that's a red flag, and that will never happen either. Don't ever go to a kiosk, and do not ever put money into one of those kiosks. We're working on ways to fix that situation. Hopefully some owners don't want those anymore.
Why would a bank have one of those in the bank? You said there's one in a bank.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of the new wave, I guess, the cryptocurrency in, like, I don't know. Do you have more on that?
Crypto is like, it's a digital world. It's
Well,
digital
right, I know what it
currency,
is,
right? But
you said that if the money's gone,
Yeah.
I
It's-
can't imagine a bank having to put one of those.
Because a
Well, it's
bank's
not-
using their money to purchase this crypto, or whoever the private vendor is for this this crypto kiosk.
So a lot of people invest with
Right.
crypto, and I mean, you can go to your bank, you can take out cash, you can put in your own crypto wallet at one of these ATMs and deposit right into your account. So I think that's why banks are doing this. Criminals are using it in their, on their behalf. But there is a safe way to use crypto. Unfortunately, this is not one of those ways. It's very intricate. It's extremely hard to track. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad stuff.
Have you seen any of the honey trap or the sweetheart deals going on in the area where people call up and they befriend you?
The lover.
And all of a sudden you think you have a relationship with
Yeah.
this person?
That touches on the sextortion. Yeah, so that touches on the sextortion type things, and it happens in different ways too. I've seen a lot of people, so we have the nude photograph side of it, but then we have the other side where they kind of befriend you and they're nice to you. You're talking to them for a few months, and then all of a sudden they're asking for money to travel to you or for anything. Hey, I'm a little short money. Can you send me some Bitcoin? And that's when you know you have a problem. It doesn't always go into the nude photographs. Sometimes it goes into things like that where they befriend you and they kind of make you feel a certain way about them, and then they prey on that by asking for Bitcoin or different means of finances. Yeah, they'll get you. They're trying to get you in. It's unfortunate for us because you guys are getting hit on every single end. We're all surrounded by different scams, and it's bad. So we want to stop it. Well, is there any other questions?
You mentioned the cars. What about catalytic converters? Because that was a big thing for a while.
That was happening. That was we were getting a lot of the catalytic converters. They're doing it in the middle of the night. They're taking sawzalls and they're just sawing them right off.
A particular make of car that you're finding that with?
Not, I didn't. I found opportunity.
I think there was a particular.
It's probably easier, yeah.
There was a particular car when this first all started, but now it's kind of just like he said, it's a crime of opportunity.
Still happening a lot?
I mean, in Longmeadow, I haven't seen it in a while. Knock on wood. I think there's other ways that they're getting money
Not us.
by
They made a
scamming.
big arrest not too long ago, and
Yeah.
I think that was
I think the
Yeah.
feds, right? They kind of, I think
Yeah.
it's probably New York.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the car stuff. So it seems like, because I have a Ring camera.
Yep.
And it tells me when something's going on, you know. And so it seems like it's coming from the Springfield side, Harkness Avenue, and it's working its way over now. It's getting closer.
What is?
and the break-ins, actually the car stuff, the break-in car stuff.
Yes. Yep. So unfortunately, we have problems coming from Connecticut, And not to, we have our own problems in East Longmeadow also, but we also get hit, we're kind of surrounded. So stolen cars, a lot of them are being stolen from people from Connecticut, and then they're used in crimes in Connecticut or Springfield or wherever, and then they're dumped in New Braintree or Hartford. So that's typically what's happening. I just had one, it was stolen a couple weeks ago, and it was recovered in Hartford, and it was doused in gasoline, and there was not a piece, the shifter was even taken. Every single piece of that car was gone. So yeah, we're getting a lot of Springfield and Connecticut, but it's people from everywhere. We're kind of just in that spot where it's going to happen.
Is there anything being done to increase patrols in certain areas? Because it does seem to be, as I said, it's moving up, into the mainstream East Longmeadow.
Yeah, so we have patrol units out every single night, and they're reporting break-ins, stolen cars, things like that, and then we're finding out later who the culprits might be. But in regards to preventing, the problem is, and I see it on surveillance because I'm looking at it after the fact, right when they see headlights, they're gone. They're just going to hide. So the best way for us is if you see something, call us, and then we'll get people to kind of surround the area instead of one of our cops going through a neighborhood and the headlights are seen and then the person's gone and they don't see them right away. But the best way for us to get it is you guys, actually. So just give us a call, we'll flood the area, and then hopefully we could find what's going on. But you're right, there's a lot of break-ins, there's a lot of stolen cars, and it's increasing.
I just wanted to add, I had my car stolen from the engine.
You're going through it.
Wow.
I know, it was just a
Holy
bad time.
smokes.
But it was locked and alarmed.
Yep.
I was gone about 25 minutes. I was parked directly opposite the door, not right in front of the door, but directly opposite. Came back, couldn't find the car, walked around, it's like, did I forget where I could not believe. And the sad thing is, it did turn up 2 months later, almost in the place where it had been taken from.
Oh.
And and it was still alarmed because I had a call from the garage where when they found the car, they towed it. I was told I had to go there. But anyway, when we went to open the car, of course I had a key, but we went to open it, the alarm went off, and a lady who was, as I was walking around befuddled looking for my car, this woman who was waiting to start her shift came out and she said, they're stealing cars from here all the time and nobody is paying attention to the alarms going off. They figure it was just an accident. You hit the wrong button on the key or something. So that's why I said I was totally blown away because nobody would pay attention to this alarm going off. And by the way, even though they found the car, I lost about $10,000 because the insurance would only cover it for 30 days. It took 2 months for the car to come back. They sent me a check and I didn't know what to do. I mean, there was no car. So that I thought, well, at least they're giving me something even though they may never get the car. And everyone was saying, you're not going to want the car. They destroyed the car. It was exactly the way I had left it. I had bags of soil that I had bought that morning in the back. They could have had a field day throwing had not done anything to the car. But I already had gotten this check. And I asked the rental car, because the insurance that I had on it, covered rental for 30 days. And the insurance wasn't going to pay any more than 30 days. So I said to the rental car, well, what if I want to just keep the rental car? I need a car. I'm sure it's going to come back, because I'd heard some cases of cars being stolen and then found.
Yeah.
They said, oh, it's $125 a day if you want to rent the car. So I had no choice but to take the car. And to replace it, it cost me almost $10,000 more than the insurance paid me.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that is some tough luck.
It was really
Sir?
I felt like there was a, but I'm just saying, if you hear an alarm going off from a car, please, and I was right out front of the store, so they could have called the mall police.
Yeah, and I feel like people are deterred from calling us. We love to hear from you guys. Feel free. You could call us. If there's something that you feel is wrong, please call us. We will send someone.
Police were wonderful. They
Good.
even gave me a ride home from Enfield to my house here in East
That was
Longmeadow.
nice. That's nice.
They were super, but there's nothing. They're frustrated.
Yeah,
And they
of course.
said it'll probably show up in a month or so, either in downtown Springfield or downtown Hartford.
Yeah, spot on. I think they give you good.
But mine was returned almost, I think it was some young person, and they wanted a car, and they took it for a couple months.
Speaking of, if you see someone actively in your car, do not approach them because they're most of the time they're dangerous. We're talking they don't care. So just call us, please, sir.
So a couple things. You mentioned that stolen cars and break-ins and it's going up in volume. Is this an everyday occurrence, multiple times a day, once a week? What's the volume? And second, you mentioned you know who some of the actors are. Are they the same people that keep doing it over and over?
Well, that would be too easy. But so for the first one,
Well,
increasing.
part of why I was asking that is Mayor Sarno in Springfield gets very upset that they arrest them and then they're out the next day. And I didn't know if we were seeing that.
So I don't want to touch on politically, so I'll stay away from that, from the state of Mass. But for East Longmeadow in general, for the increasing motor vehicles being stolen, is that where you were alluding to?
Yeah, and the break-ins, you said they're both up. I'm just curious,
Yeah.
how often is this?
So I can't give you an exact number, but that is something that we could hit. In my opinion, I think that it has been going up the last few years. But it's pretty on par. Stolen cars always happen, crime of opportunity. So the way to prevent that, lock your cars, don't leave your keys in there. And then it'll probably decrease. But in regards to, we don't really see too many windows broken or anything like that. It's just too loud, too noisy. So for car breaks in general, I would say it's probably similar each year, and stolen cars. But for other crimes, it could be trending up, but I don't have any statistics off the top of my head to show that. It's just my opinion. So, but we're with it crime-wise, so we're kind of finding out ways to deter this, and it's working. So hopefully we see decreases. But Mayor Sarno, I mean, he makes a lot of good points. Yes. We'll say that. Did that hit everything?
What about house break-ins?
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about.
Of course.
Big time.
Yeah, for house break-ins, I haven't seen.
The ones you've seen, are the people home or not home?
Yeah.
Yeah, through my career, we've had a few, probably two, where the people were home. That would be considered a home invasion, and most of those were targeted. So it's not really random. I had one. We did one home invasion where it was targeted, and that was last year, and it was. Do you remember that? Yeah, that was.
It was in my neighborhood. I learned about it 2 weeks later.
Yeah, we got him. We arrested him. We found him.
So you got the guy that broke in?
Yeah, yes, we did. And for regular house breaks, in my years as a detective now, I have seen it. It's always been selective, and it hasn't been random house breaks. For me.
Well, what do you mean by selective?
It's targeted. So for that home invasion, the suspect knew the woman whose house he broke into.
Well, that I would have guessed on a home invasion, but regular break-ins, you think that people know the people's house they're breaking in?
For houses. For house breaks, we haven't had too many in the last, since I've been.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so it's a good thing, for sure.
They know you have something valuable or cash.
Of course. Sometimes, it could be a family member that could have some sort of a problem, and they're trying to alleviate that problem by stealing. So that could happen, but honestly, we haven't had too many house breaks, thank God, this year. It's primarily been vehicles.
So what can we do to help prevent that from happening? House breaks?
House breaks, I always say, so my house personally, I have cameras all over my house because it helps us. We have a better chance of finding the person using your cameras and things like that. There's also other investigation tactics that we use, but cameras are huge. Locking your doors, a lot of people, this sounds bad to say, but back in the day, a lot of people didn't lock your doors and things like that. We live in a nice community. We still do. East Longmeadow is phenomenal. But, maybe you should lock your doors a little bit just to, it'll help a little bit. But for house breaks, like I said, I haven't seen too many the past 2 years, so I think we're okay there.
I would say an alarm system.
An alarm system's huge.
As a detective, outside lighting, cameras, and an alarm system are huge investigative tools for us. I don't love.
Simply Safe, or do you mean a service?
Simply Safe's great. I have Simply Safe at my home, and all that tells me is, yes, if they get into your house, but it tells me an exact time frame, and I know to you're probably like, why does that matter? But there are so many investigative tools that we can use based on that exact time frame, and that is huge. Instead of you guys gone the whole weekend, you leave on a Friday, you come back Monday, and we have no time frame. That is not helpful for us, especially if there's no cameras. So I would definitely say light your house up like a Christmas tree, cameras, and a working alarm system for
Maybe
sure.
a dog too.
Yeah, dog, free
That's a great
security. Yeah, a German Shepherd.
So if I have the pest guy come, and they go through the entire house to treat it, up, down, everywhere, and I'm so afraid that the pest guy is casing my house. So, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that kind of thing? You have to let him in.
Yeah, I mean, make sure it's a reputable company, and I mean, so there are ads on Facebook, and I know people, we all try to save money somehow. Maybe on Facebook, I'll look for someone who does pest control, but you're better off going to a legitimate company that's reputable with good ratings on Google, things like that. But I know that there's a lot out there. I mean, it almost borderline scams. There was what was that? The Irish Travelers
Yeah,
with the construction thing.
yeah, and there was driveway pavers and
Yeah,
stuff.
it was
There's
pavers,
scams.
and they're from Ireland.
Yeah.
And they were coming here with they had fake IDs, things like that, and they were trying to get payments for doing jobs that they wouldn't finish. So we want to avoid that too. Good question. But and if you ever feel like something's happening, you could always call us also.
Just to add to that, if your house did get broken into, those are questions we would ask. Who was the last in your house? All those people would be immediately interviewed. And I realize we are not human lie detectors, but those would be immediate people we would be talking to. But to further add on to what Detective Deanna was saying, reputable company. Don't be going to just some random guy on Facebook. I don't know who you use, and I mean, follow them around. I mean, if they're looking in your sock drawer for the mice droppings, I mean, I don't know who you're
In the back. We'll get you though. We got you.
Just wondering how many detectives you have there in the DV.
Yeah, so for East Longmeadow, we have a detective sergeant, that's Detective Sergeant Bruno, and myself, and we were down a couple patrol officers, so we had to keep them on patrol, but come next year, we'll have 2. So 3 total, including the detective sergeant.
So realistically, how effective can you investigate something if you really don't have the manpower?
Yeah, so for us, our patrol guys are handling a lot of the problems, but the big cases where it's the home invasions, the house breaks, crimes like that, the jewelry, things like that, I will handle that. I don't want to toot my horn, but I think it's pretty effective. I think that we're doing a pretty good job.
How long have you been in the detective bureau, can I ask?
So I've been a detective for 2 years and police officer for 6 years, so 8 years total. I was a police officer in the military for the Air Force. We could touch. I went to Afghanistan. I was there for 7 months as a police officer. I did 6 years in the National Guard as police officer, and then got hired. I went to Westfield State for 4 years, got my bachelor's degree there. Was patrol for 6 years, and now 2 years as a detective. And prior to that, I was doing sexual assault investigations for 5 years. So, and then we always work. I bounce stuff off her. We all kind of work together. We have group chats. So with that quick jewelry exchange thing, I have group messages or group chats and email chains that I put these things out to, and all of us are bouncing all our information off of each other. That's kind of how we function. So Chicopee police may have arrested this person last month, and they'll be able to identify this person. And now I could use that Chicopee officer's information to get a warrant for the bad guy that we have. So we all in the area, in the region, we all kind of know what's going on and we bounce everything off of each other. We're in multiple group chats, chains, and it's actually kind of impressive the way that we're all linked. So we all help each other. And then there's state police. If there's something that, with a bank robbery, we had a couple bank robberies, I'll do my thing, but I also have state police detective unit with me, and then we contact crime scene services, all from the state police. So we have unlimited resources, and if I'm ever in a jam, I could always call state. She's helped me on, we worked the bank robbery together. We had the same bank robber last year, was it? Yep. Same bank, they got hit, and then we got hit, and we all worked together, and we were able to arrest that guy, who was arrested in Springfield, actually, from us talking with Springfield also. So it all functions together.
Yeah, he wears the patch for East Longmeadow, but it's a whole community effort. We're a big team.
I understand that, but I had a really bad experience here in town, and it's not like the whole department, but with a housebreak that wasn't investigated like it should, and I guess it left me with a lot of questions on why things weren't done. But just to add to, just so you know that I was on the state police for 25 years. I worked for the Hampden County District Attorney's Office working with you guys, and in crime scene services also for many years. So I was no stranger to what was happening. And I was less than impressed, okay? I want to know if I can get a copy of the investigative report and if anything else could be done. Because I know that frequently more eyes on a case can help solve it.
For sure.
And
I hope that
also-
we could talk after, unless you want to continue. We could continue, or we can talk after. Yeah.
But I just think back then maybe there wasn't as much communicating between the different departments.
Can you tell me how long ago it was?
3 years ago, I think it was.
3 years ago?
So not that long ago,
Okay, yeah.
but long enough that it's sailed, that ship has sailed.
Yep.
But I don't know if maybe there's someone else. A lot was stolen from my house, okay? And I'm still not over this.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd love to talk to you more.
I'll talk
So-
to you as well offline
Okay,
because
but
it's
I
about.
just want to make sure that, I mean, you are saying you can make phone calls and we want to hear from you, but I just want to make sure that that is the case. Maybe things hopefully have changed since then. I know I've never met either of you guys. If I have, it was probably you're on patrol or something. But maybe a change in the manpower also could maybe help solve more of these cases, because a lot of them are connected,
Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And we could talk after too. I hope. Ma'am.
So if we're getting ready to travel and we're going to be gone for a while, what can we do to safeguard our home?
So you could call our regional dispatch center, and then you could set up directed patrol. So if you tell them, hey, I'm going to be away from January 1 to January 5, and you could see if they'll set up directed patrols where they'll send a patrol officer to do drive-bys.
And just what about generally around the house to make it safe while we're gone?
Oh, I see. Well, I unplug things just when I go on vacation personally. I unplug a lot of things. And then you could, like if you have a sliding door, you could put a 2x4 on the end of it. I lock all my doors and...
I mean, so
Sure.
I'm assuming. Sorry to cut you off. I'm assuming you live in a neighborhood. You know when your neighbors aren't home. It's pretty easy to figure out with certain lights. Maybe you go to bed with this light on or this light off, whatever. It's very easy to figure out everybody's patterns. We all have patterns. I guess my response to that is don't create a pattern. Leave a couple lights on, maybe have timered lights. There's light bulbs on Amazon you can set up to turn on a certain time, shut off on a certain time, things like that. I know I'm a police officer and I have a pattern, and I try to avoid that as well, but just like I said, it's very easy to tell when you're not home, and that's what they do. They go around and they case.
It's their job, pretty much, to find out what house they could hit.
have to add, because you said the lights, the timers.
Yep.
But I also recently bought, it's a little box, and you plug it into the wall, and it's a fake TV
Fake, I was
light.
just going to mention that.
Yeah,
It
so-
looks like a
That's a good one.
You
TV.
put it like in a bedroom or a front window where people was in, and it like flashes
flick-
lights,
yep.
like if
Yeah.
someone goes by your house, it looks like a light, a
Yep.
TV is on.
So can you access, so if somebody breaks into your house or your car and they get your wallet, which has credit cards in it, and I know what's being done is they now automatically use them, can you then do something, so if somebody uses my Visa to buy something at a store and they have it sent somewhere, can you trace that?
So I just want to make sure I have this right. So if someone steals your credit cards and they buy something online and then ship it to a particular address, could we? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we could see it. I would say if you find out that your cards are stolen, just cancel everything immediately anyway. And usually the credit card companies are pretty good about that. So yeah, we could see that.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to cancel your credit card, first ask for an activity, a statement of the activity, so that way if they decided to go down to 7-Eleven and get a slushie with it, we can check to see if they have cameras and do stuff that way. But absolutely, we can definitely trace it. We want that information. We don't want them to use your cards, but it is an investigative tool.
Ma'am?
How was, you said there's an increase in crime. How about porch pilots?
Yeah, you know, I hate seeing that. We see that a decent amount, and we're seeing people ship items from Amazon, like a cell phone, to your house, and then they're going to your house and pulling that cell phone. So yeah, and they're driving vans that you might think is a delivery van, and it's complicated. So yeah, I've seen that a few times, and not that much though. But it might pick up with the Christmas season around the corner, so keep your eyes on that.
You have your packages maybe delivered to the post office.
You could do that too, yeah.
I think that there's something with the post office, or that you want to have your stuff sent there, you can do that, or somewhere.
And that could be a good idea for this time of the year, being Christmas.
Did you touch on checks?
Checks? Actually, no, I didn't.
All right. We all write checks, I would assume. Everybody writes checks. There's a big check washing incident, specifically when checks are being mailed in the blue collection boxes on like the sides of the streets, not in the post office, but on the sides of the streets. I am not saying do not trust the collection boxes. I'm just giving you advice. I would use the actual post office. I would mail inside the post office. And when you're writing checks, a ballpoint pen, such as like these just generic pens, these are ballpoint pens. Throw them out for checks. Use gel ink pens. They're able to just use simple acetone and dip the checks in, and the ink comes right off, and then they can just write whatever they so choose on the checks. I see a lot of, not with the gel. They're much harder to, but honestly, to prevent, even for Christmas seasons coming up, Hanukkah, all this, any Christmas cards or holiday cards going out with cash, mail it at the post office. Avoid the collection boxes for right now. I see a lot of things.
Isn't there a specific pen, the Uniball 702? It actually has written on the package, because I went to a seminar before with the fraud business.
Yep.
And they said that's the one to get, and on the package it says like for fraud and wash.
If it says that, perfect. But the regular, just plain, these ballpoint, they come right off. But if gel or if they specify it, yep. So.
Yeah.
When we call, we talked about this earlier,
Yeah.
digital 911,
Yep.
something happened on my street, how long is the turnaround from Chicopee answering that phone call?
That's a great question. So she asked, so we have regional dispatch now. I'm sure that you're all aware of it. She asked what the turnaround is from the time that she calls Chicopee regional dispatch to when the police are dispatched. That's a tough one. I don't know. So
I can say from my experience, it's right on. You may still be talking to Chicopee, and they're already talking to East Longmeadow.
I know how they function. So they have a call taker. they take the call. You're talking to that person. They'll say, hey, we have this going on. And they're putting a call in at that time, which that call is going to show up.
On the phone.
You're still on the phone. They're asking you all these questions that might seem dumb, but there's reasons for it. And as you're telling them these answers, they're typing in the computer, and the person dispatching police is seeing that. So they're getting it to us as quick as they can. But it depends. How busy are they? How busy are they not? You know, things like that. But generally, the system works, and it's supposed to be quick. But I also have my personal opinions. But the state is moving to regional dispatch, and that's where we're at with that. So, sir?
Have you seen any problems in the East Longmeadow area with credit card skimmers?
Skimmer, we had a skimmer at, when it was Webster Bank. I think that was last year, right in the center. The skimmer got picked up pretty quickly. It got picked up in a day. And that was people from Romania. And they were gone. That was the one that's all I had for
We had a
skimmers,
few
I think.
ATM skimmers. I think a good rule of thumb is always just cover your hand before you're putting the pin in. And the reason for that is typically on these ATM skimmers, there's like a pinhole camera, and they're looking to see you press the pin in, so at least to block the pin. As far as like the actual credit card skimmers, I mean, if you go to a gas pump, where you put your card in, you can essentially grab it and just give it a little tug. If it doesn't move, you're probably good. I don't know if any of you shop or get gas at Costco, but if you notice at the Costco pumps, there's actually little red stickers because they check it, which is really nice that they do that. I know Big Y in Longmeadow, the Big Y Express, they're pretty good about checking, but it takes seconds to put on and seconds to take off. So just good rule of thumb, when you're up there, just give it a little tug.
I do that.
Is it more safe to tap and use the RFID than to swipe?
I do that personally. I don't. From what I've seen, I've never seen a skimmer pull that information from the tap.
Yeah, I would say you can use that. I don't think every, I think every device is going towards tap anyway.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a new wave. Good.
The
Sir?
tap is harder to
Sir?
than the slide.
We haven't talked about drug use, drug dealing. Is that an issue in either of the towns? If so, is it growing or going down?
For drug dealing, I wouldn't say there's an increase, but there is some drug activity. It's nothing to. It's on the radar, but it's nothing that I'd be too concerned with, and we're on it. Like there was some. We've had suspected houses that have moved out, since it moved out, so there goes that. There's some heroin usage, which is common through most cities and towns anyway, but that's personal. In regards to big time dealing, the last time that there was anything, there was a federal raid like 4 years ago, and that's the last big hit for drugs that I've seen. Other than that, the people have moved out.
Yeah, Longmeadow's the same. It's typically, I see more drug users than drug sellers.
Yep.
Dealers, not sellers. It's been a long
As far
day.
as the gift cards, you were talking about at the bank, if someone's trying to get money, that the tellers there will ask, which is really nice. I've been at a couple stores where I've been getting gift cards, and the clerk, very nicely kind of says, oh, and what's this for? So I think that the people at the stores too are also aware that people are buying gift cards for that same kind of thing. So
Good.
That was good of them to ask. I think
Good.
they were a little uncomfortable maybe asking, what are your gift cards for? But I'm glad they did because it's out there.
Yeah. Yep. Good. And if you answered it and said a certain thing, they might know about it and help you and save you from losing that money on site. Good. All right. Ma'am?
I used to be an assistant manager when it was SIS Bank, so about 20 years ago, someone approached someone in the parking lot, Big Y, and they had an envelope, and they said, oh, is this your envelope? It had cash in it, and somehow this person befriended and these two people went with her to her house in Longmeadow and had her go through her, bank accounts and come to a bank and,
Uh-oh.
There's smoke down right here.
had her withdraw money and everything, and then she came, this person went and came.
Thank you. I'm listening, sorry. Have a good one, man. Thank you.
The person came the next day, and evidently had my, person that was in the parking lot, had my card with my name as assistant manager. And when this lady came in, she was asking for this person, and for me. And she said, "Oh, you're not the same person that I saw yesterday."
No. Oh, wow.
And I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" And she told me, and I immediately called, the police. And she was out quite a bit of money. I don't know how, and then there was something in the paper and everything, so it was a while ago. But, so the thing is, someone approaches you and
No.
say, "Is this your money, or did you drop this, or I found this?"
Oh.
All that, yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. The pizza's here. Do we have any more questions?
I just had,
Sure.
I had a comment about the house break-ins many years ago in Springfield. My wife in the kitchen would hang her pocketbook over the chair, and we'd go to bed. Well, apparently, there's a couple of kids or whatever, they were going around looking in windows. They saw the pocketbook hanging on the chair right by the back door. And we were in bed, and all of a sudden we heard this huge crash. No idea. I went downstairs, the back doors off the hinges and everything. They grabbed the pocketbook and took off. And then come to find out, we had the police come right away. And come to find out, they had already gotten into the cellar and tried to come upstairs, but we had a lock on that door.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get in quietly. So they just decided, we'll just kick the back door. So, ladies, hide your pocketbooks at night.
Yeah. It's too.
I don't think it's a big thing now, but, they were, at that time, they were looking at windows to see what
Yeah.
they could see, what they could smash and grab.
And that kind of brings me to, I didn't mention this. So we had a break-in. They were targeting Asian families who own restaurants, and that was what I was kind of referring to. Yeah, so what I was referring to, like targeted, it also goes, they're targeting specific people. So they kicked the door in and they hit the house, and yeah, they stole money, shoes, everything, jewelry, probably $100,000 worth of items. But right at 2:30 p.m. they kicked the door in. So I mean, it's real. But they had tracking. It was wild.
You don't want to hear, when you're up in bed, you hear that crash.
Yeah, no, it's scary stuff.
Yep.
For sure. I think someone else had a hand up, did we?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on the person who was saying they were worried about having people, going through their house, examining for insects and stuff. I've had 13 different projects done in my house over many years, and 11 of them are very well done. I learned something. There's a company that I thought was reputable. I'm sure you've seen their ads on TV. I had a bad experience. I know 2 friends who used them and had a good experience. But if you go on the Better Business Bureau website, you will get, because I've seen their ads and I went online their site, and these rave reviews, there was not one negative thing. When I went to the Better Business Bureau, they had more than 1,500 complaints.
Wow.
So that's always, if you're dealing with something you're not familiar with, even if you've seen their advertising, because of course they're going to make their best case to the to the world. But if you go to the Better Business Bureau website, you can see if other people have had trouble with them.
That's a good point. Yeah, you can make up fake reviews, things like that. That's smart. Absolutely.
Who's the company?
Yeah, tell us.
I'm not saying.
You can also check the Attorney General's website in Massachusetts, see if they're been investigated.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Well, this one, there were
I've
also,
done that.
there were complaints from many states. They're a big national
That's from
company.
the Attorney General.
Mass.gov is a great resource also for everything. They have, even if you type in a certain scam, the Attorney General's office already has it listed on their website and they'll tell you about it. So that's good. So if you find the time, go to the mass.gov and you could go through that. It's going to have a lot of information. But I hope that we touched on a lot of topics that we wanted to hit. And if there's anything else, I'm staying for a little bit more also after you guys eat and all that. So feel free. And if there's no more questions, I think...
Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for sharing your Friday. So we're going to do this every single year, and we're going to try to add to it because crimes are changing, trends are changing. Also, I have those sheets for the registry for the cameras. If anyone wants to sign up, no pressure, or just call me. I have my cards up here. Yes, so we're trying to start a camera registry where your surveillance cameras that you have at your personal residence, you'll have it listed with us. Now, we can't access them, but it's just going to be a database where I can look and see, oh, Julie has cameras. Let me call her because she's on Taylor Street in East Longmeadow. So I'll just call you or email you and see if we can look at your cameras, and that's pretty much it. We will never have access to it unless you give it to us at that point.
But you can only use it if people have a subscription.
No, what do you mean?
So Ring, you don't have to have a subscription. You can just have a Ring. So when someone comes to your door, you can see them and talk to them. It doesn't record.
Oh, so it's not going to save the data?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it would just be for saved data if it's saved.
So you need to, it's only for people who have that subscription.
Correct. But yeah, and then I have my cards up here. So if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to call me anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your Friday. Now, go Tyson.